Welcome everyone to Tama Talks, brought to you by the Torrance Art Museum Advocates. I'm Janine Madden, current Tama president, and I'd like to thank you for watching. Today's talk will feature work currently on view at the museum from the exhibition Uncivil War and Election Special in the main gallery. If you are planning a trip to Torrance from near or far, I highly recommend you take some time to stop in and see this show before it closes on December 10th, 2022. I'm always surprised at how many Torrance residents are unaware they have such an outstanding museum, for some quite literally in their own backyard. TAM hours are Tuesday through Saturday, 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. Admission to the museum is free and donations are accepted and appreciated. You can find them on the web at www.torranceartmuseum.com. This discussion will be recorded and will be posted to our YouTube channel with all of our previous Tama Talks. You can also access it from our website, www.tamadvocates.com. Opening on October 1st, 2022, Uncivil War explores the events of January 6th, 2021 in Washington, D.C., which shocked the nation. The country has felt a divided space with a polarization and demonizing of opposition that has left many citizens in fear that a spark could ignite the fires of civil war. There has been a steady build in journalist articles reflecting upon the possibility of a second U.S. Civil War. Regardless of the realities of this, the fact remains that the concern is a part of the current zeitgeist. What will the current midterm elections bring us? Increased enmity or a rejection of extremism? Will democracy win out or will armed insurrection begin? Or will the status quo continue to stoke the embers of discontent? This exhibition is curated by MAX PRESNEILL, who will be joining us tomorrow for a live Q&A. Feel free to register on our website. It too will be recorded and posted to our YouTube channel for viewing at your convenience. Uncivil War features artists Lisa Ann Auerbach, Diana Sofia Estrada, Michelle Jacques, S.C. Miro, Jeremy J. Quinn, Dred Scott, Allison Stewart, Gabby Strong, Keith Walsh, Bruce Yanamoto, and Sandow Birk, who joins us today. Los Angeles artist Sandow Birk is a well-traveled graduate of the Otis Parsons Art Institute. Frequently developed as expansive multimedia projects, his works have dealt with contemporary life in its entirety, with an emphasis on social issues. Frequent themes of his past work have included inner city violence, graffiti, political issues, travel, war, and prisons, as well as surfing and skateboarding. He was a recipient of an NEA International Travel Grant to Mexico City in 1995 to study mural painting, a Guggenheim Fellowship in 1996, and a Fulbright Fellowship for Painting to Rio de Janeiro in 1997. In 1999, he was awarded a Getty Fellowship for Painting, followed by a City of Los Angeles COLA Fellowship in 2001. In 2007, he was an artist in residence at the Smithsonian Institute in Washington, D.C., and at the Cité Internationale des Arts in Paris in 2008. Sandow is represented by the Copland Del Rio Gallery in Seattle, Catherine Clark Gallery in San Francisco, and in Los Angeles by Trek 16 Gallery. So thank you so much for joining us today, Sandow. As I'm sure you've seen, or maybe not, the Torrance Art Museum chose your work, The Great Battle of San Francisco, to use in its marketing for Uncivil War. So we're really excited to hear about the work that you've exhibited at the Torrance Art Museum. And with that, I will turn the hosting duties over to you so you can share your images with us.
I'm happy to be here and happy to be talking to you. Thank you for doing it so professionally. This is really interesting for me to be invited to be in this exhibition because known Max for 25 years or something, but the two large paintings of mine that he's showing were from a project that I did in the late 1990s. So these were paintings I hadn't even seen for more than 25 years. So he was able to borrow them back and get them in the show. And it's, for me as an artist, it's really interesting to see my old works again, revisiting this project that I did.
Absolutely.
To give you a little, I'm going to talk about the project because it's fun for me to revisit it, and I can see why he included my works in the show. But in a real quick nutshell, in the 1990s, I had had a couple of shows in Los Angeles, and then I was invited by Catherine Clark Gallery in San Francisco to do a show in San Francisco. So I said, okay, great. But the woman, Catherine Clark, who runs the gallery, said, no, it's, we've never shown an artist from Los Angeles before. You should actually come to San Francisco and hang out and spend some time and get to know people in the art world and stuff. So I went up to San Francisco. I spent a month sleeping on a friend's sofa and working in his studio with him and surfing and skateboarding and stuff. And everywhere I went, and I would meet people, and when they found out I was from Los Angeles, they would all start making fun of me and saying how Los Angeles is this horrible city and it's smoggy and how could you live there, and everyone's phony, everyone's an actor, and the freeways are horrible. And at first it was like a little bit of a joke, but after 30 days of hearing it, I went home and I decided that I should do a project where Los Angeles invades San Francisco and takes over the whole city and puts an end to this whole rivalry. So that was the initial spark that set off this project. So over the course of 3 or 4 different exhibitions over about 4 or 5 years, I ended up doing a series of about 100 paintings and drawings that all told the story of an imaginary war between Los Angeles and San Francisco. And the 2 paintings at Torrance are from that series. So the first exhibition I did was in San Francisco. It was called The Battle of San Francisco, and it had this whole storyline of the Los Angeles army like marching up California and battling San Francisco, and there's this big naval battle, and then part 2 was held in Los Angeles, where San Francisco retaliates, and it was called The Battle of Los Angeles. And then at the end of the project, all 100 paintings and drawings were brought together in a big show at the Laguna Museum, which was called In Smog and Thunder. So you can see in this painting where the guy on the left is like representing Los Angeles with his steering wheel, and he's got a palm tree in his hand, and he's standing over downtown LA and the freeways. And on the right-hand side is the San Franciscan with a Pendleton shirt and a Giants hat, and he's holding a redwood tree, and they're battling it out, and the women in between all have banners on that say different cities in between, so they're trying to stop the war. So it's like Santa Barbara and Fresno and Santa Cruz and things. So all the paintings were sort of playing off the tropes of history painting and like French Romantic painting, and making jokes about about the role of painting in telling history, and about the rivalries between San Francisco and the stereotypes between LA and San Francisco, Northern and Southern California. And they were also playing off the idea of the American Civil War, the North versus the South, which hadn't really affected California in the 1860s. So like this painting is called The Spirit of Los Angeles, and you see it's mocking the painting of the Spirit of 1776. Instead of holding a fife and drum, we have mixed people of different races. The guy in the middle's got a Domino's pizza shirt on, and he's holding a big gulp from 7-Eleven. The guy on the right's like a Korean eating a burrito. In the background is the flag of Los Angeles. On the ground, you see oranges representing Orange County in Southern California. And in the bottom, you see they're marching past a piñata and a parking meter. I came up with this whole fictional narrative about the Battle of San Francisco, and one part of it has the Goodyear blimp battling the Fuji blimp for control of the skies. So here you see the Goodyear blimp over Los Angeles going down. This is the bombing of the Getty Museum. So you see the Getty Museum up on the hill. So in this whole narrative, part of the rivalry was that San Franciscans see themselves as sort of the more cultural, more artsy, literary city. And part of their sort of animosity towards California is that by putting the Angelenos down and saying that there's no culture in Los Angeles. And so when San Francisco invades the city of LA, one of their main targets is to wipe out actual cultural institutions in LA. So they attack the Getty Museum, which is very much like a fortress up on top of the hill. So you see them all shooting at it, and more street battles and scenes going on in like mini malls and gas stations. I don't remember the title of this, but you see they're all holding banners. One says ATM and one says, save or free drink with any purchase. So it's playing off also on the idea of, consumerism. And, it was sort of funny at the time imagining that Californians would actually go to war with each other over these slight differences. And now I think the Torrance Art Museum is pointing out that maybe these funny differences aren't so funny, and maybe a civil war could actually come someday. So this is the large painting that's at Torrance Art Museum. It's called The Battle of San Francisco, and you see it's sort of a Napoleonic cavalry charge against an army. And you see they're all dug in, and rather than the stereotypical history paintings we see of European battles in the 1700s, now they're all contemporary people holding signs and parking meters and smashed computers and parking cones and things. This is the title of it. So this is a huge painting. It's 8 feet by 8 feet, and it belongs to the DeYoung Museum in Napa Valley. So it's fantastic that Torrance was able to borrow it and bring it back down. Here you can see the funny signs: Bud 6-pack $4.99. Ask me about free checking. Castro Company, as if there's different parts of the army that come from different neighborhoods in San Francisco. Smashed motorcycles, water heater. This painting was called San Francisco on the Ruins of Her City. So the figure is meant to represent like the muse or the personification of San Francisco, much like the Statue of Liberty or something. So she's Asian, she's got 49ers jacket on. She's wearing a tie-dye outfit to represent the Haight-Ashbury district. She's wearing Levi's, which were invented in San Francisco during the gold rush. And you see in the rubble the arm sticking out holding a computer mouse to represent Silicon Valley. So you see her whole city is sort of in rubble, and she's pleading with something to rescue her city. This is the battle for Sf Moma. So just as the Getty Museum was attacked, I have a scene of Sf Moma being a battle raging in the streets in front of it, and you see it in the background, full of bullet holes and bomb holes and things, while people are fighting in the streets. You see them hiding behind mailboxes and parking meters and washing machines and water bottles. And in the center left on the ground, you can see old early Apple computers, desktop and early laptops. So this would have been painted around 1998, 99. And then also, as the whole project developed, I started creating these fictional characters and did portrait paintings of imaginary generals and important people in the battles. So this is a general for the Los Angeles Army, and you see he's got all the tropings of Los Angeles, from a Dodger jacket to, in his hand he's holding a video camera to represent Hollywood and the movie industry. And at the bottom there's like a little paragraph about his heroics in these imaginary battles. And this is another general for the Los Angeles Army. You see he's standing in the hills over the pass, the 405 pass as it goes over the hill by the Getty. He's got a Thomas guide in those days when you needed maps to get around the city. You can see he's like a Hispanic gardener. He's wearing a 1984 Olympics t-shirt and Bud Light hat, and he's got a leaf blower on. And in this whole narrative, he becomes important in the battle. And of course, had women generals and women people in the battles as well. So this is a Angelina general who's instead of riding a horse, she rides a motorcycle, and she's sort of got Hispanic outfits on, and you can see her in the rubble of Los Angeles freeways. And in her hand, she's holding a black and white headshot in case she gets opportunity to audition for any roles while in Hollywood. In the whole 5-year long narrative of this project, the war starts when LA goes up and invades San Francisco, and then in part 2, San Francisco sort of rebuilds and sends a navy down the coast and attacks Los Angeles by sea and surrounds Los Angeles. And at the end, right when all seems lost and Los Angeles is going to topple, they call out for assistance from all the neighboring cities. And like Portland doesn't want to get involved, and Seattle doesn't want to get involved, and Las Vegas doesn't want to get involved. And so eventually the only city that'll come aid Los Angeles in the war is Tijuana. So the army of Tijuana comes marching up and saves the day. So this is the general of the army of Tijuana riding on a Ducati motorcycle. And then to go along with these shows, I did a whole series of imaginary propaganda posters for both sides. So this would be, it says LA on his helmet, and you see he's bombed the Bay Area, the map of the Bay. And a San Francisco poster representing Los Angeles as a mega city for California. Another anti-Southern California poster, down with Hollywood. See downtown LA is on fire. This is making fun of the LAPD and all their scandals that were going on with the Rampart Division in the 1990s, and which are still going on today. Join the San Francisco Marine Corps. Free condoms and free water bottles. For the city of my eyes, for the cause of my vision, Angelinas unite.
Paintbrush significance.
Citizen, artists for the war or something. Remember in the 90s, you'd wear your pants with one leg up and one leg down like that? Early hip hop days. This one makes fun of Hollywood. Citizen avenge the Titanic, but it means the movie The Titanic. Julian's wasted on melodramatic schlock. So it's saying that they wasted a lot of money on a lousy movie. And then the aftermath of the war, all the ships are sunk under the sea, and here's a submarine like going down to visit them, like the Titanic. You see on the far right, you see a freeway sign and a police car on the bottom left, and stoplights as if everything's underwater. This is the Battle of Los Angeles. This is a large painting that's at Torrance right now as well. This is about 10 feet wide. Uh, and it's you see the whole panorama of the Los Angeles basin with helicopters and everything on fire, mini malls, parking things, a payphone on the far left, back when there were payphones, skateboards and trashed computers, a paleta cart on the far right, a sign that says free ATM machines. The red flag in the middle says pass or don't pay from the smog stores. And on the other right, the red, yellow, green flag is the actual flag of the city of Los Angeles, which looks very much like the Mexican flag.
Even slipped a little
It,
Disney reference in there.
yeah, well, the Disney people that work at the theme parks on the far right have to come join the battle. We, it's fun to see these paintings after so many years. So the whole thing became a big exhibition at the Laguna Art Museum. It was called In Smog and Thunder: Historical Works in the Great War of the Californias. And the way that the show was installed at the museum was with all these labels for all the paintings, which were all written by me. They were all fictional, as if the paintings had been done by various artists that had been part of the war or had been borrowed from the Tijuana War Museum, or they all extended this whole fiction. So as you went through the museum, it never explicitly says that this is all fictional. It presents itself as if it was a true event. And then they even had the audio tour where you would listen to a tour that would tell you about paintings as you went through the museum. And I worked with a couple of friend performers, and we made a whole fictional soundtrack that talked about the war as you went through, as if it was entirely a real event. And this was the catalog that they put out for it. And I worked with friends of mine, Sean Meredith, film director, and performer Paul Zaloom, and we put together a 45-minute fake documentary, sort of a spoof of Ken Burns' Civil War series, where it interviews people that, historians and people that were in the war, and it visits cemeteries where apparently people are buried, and it's all this great send up of Civil War in the North versus the South.
That's a nice tie-in to Alison Stewart's. I think her work in the current show harkens to Gettysburg and almost the farcical nature, kind of making fun in the same way with the reenactments that take place in the country about the Civil War. So it's a nice tie-in. One of the things I find that's interesting about the way Max curates is that he will often find artists who weave into each other with their work to make, even though they seem very, very separate, they sort of weave into each other once they're all hung and in the gallery space in a really provocative kind of way that makes people stop. And I mean, again, I'm far away, but I guarantee you, if I was there and was able to go into the Torrance Art Museum and take a look, I would be standing in front of this for the longest time, just because there's so much to take in, and really appreciate the backstory to it. Not only are you a beyond talented artist, but just the ability to create the narrative is amazing. It's like an artist illustrator, except on a much grander scale. So fantastic, just amazing.
Well, thank you. It was a really fun project over the years I worked on it, and it's really great to see it again after so many years, more than 20 years. So It's great. And the show at Torrance is amazing, as you said.
Absolutely thrilled that you were able to join us today. I would highly recommend folks heading to your website. The work that you have on there is extraordinary, and I was absolutely captivated by the Capitol Rotunda pieces. Did you do those when you were during your Smithsonian fellowship?
No, the ones you're talking about on my website are my most recent project, which is actually on exhibit right now at Catherine Clark Gallery in San Francisco, where I have a solo show up that opened 2 weeks ago. So
Okay.
those are a whole series of brand new paintings of mine.
And so we don't have them, and this is just curiosity. For me is were you able then to sort of Photoshop them into the rotunda? Yeah, it was so realistic and just really well done, amazing, really well done.
Great. Yeah, they were photoshopped. So yeah, the concept of that was that I repainted all the 8 paintings that are in the U.S. Capitol Rotunda, which are paintings of American history, and I redid them, imagining if I could choose what moments from American history should be on display in the U.S. Capitol, I would do it. And so I did the paintings, and then I photoshopped them in to make them appear as if they're actually hanging in the Capitol building.
It was I would love to and you said this is actually in a gallery in San Francisco right now at Catherine Clark, you said, or?
Yeah, correct. It's up right now, I think, for 3 more weeks.
Oh man. Okay. Well, that is extraordinary. We're so really honored to have you show these 2 pieces at the TAM. So hopefully, have you had a chance to get over to the show?
I'm on my way tomorrow.
Fantastic.
I was in San Francisco when the opening happened, so I couldn't be there.
Okay, great. All right, then. Well, you have a fantastic rest of your day. It's a lot earlier out there than it is here. So I'll sign off and thank you all very much for watching today.